Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we are back, having a good time as usual. Listen to me talk.
We were once again discussing Sigmund during the break. He gets a lot of airtime with us here.
He really does. And you can listen to him during the week, by the way. He hosts, and I still think he does, he hosts one of the shows during the week in regards to one of the Bible study opportunities.
Really?
So, really, really good guy. Knows his stuff. Great individual. Just a great person and an incredible voice, He follows me around in my head the whole time. Chris is walking into the room.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, we had Carrie sitting over in the corner. I thought we ought to bring her out into the sunshine here.
Nobody puts Carrie in the corner.
Nobody puts Carrie in the corner. Let me tell you. Yeah, bring her out into the sunshine, talk to her a little bit. One of the things, Carrie is brand new into real estate. She's brand new also on the Doug Erdy team. And, one of the things I think would be really good is for you to say hello to everybody, by the way.
Good morning, everyone.
and more importantly is also talk a little bit about what interested you in real estate. Why did you get involved with real estate? Because you have a very interesting background. Talk about your background first, I guess, and then why you decided to move in the real estate market.
Okay, sure. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here first. I started off as an intern, a financial analyst for Hillcorp, and I was in the finance industry up until about 3 years ago, and was trying to look for a new gig. Wanted to get out from underneath the fluorescent lights 8 to 5, and really interested in homes, and decided real estate would be it for me.
And and you say really interested in homes. You're a Houston native.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. So you've seen the growth in Houston. I mean, you've really
Tremendous
seen just
growth,
from a living perspective. I'm not a Houston native, even though I've always maintained a home, or my family's always maintained a home in Houston, for the past 40 years. But it's amazing some of the growth that we've seen over this period of time. Not only here recently, but if you look back in Houston in the 80s and you look at it where it is today, and we're not talking about, 100 years ago, we're talking about 30 years ago.
Yeah, I remember back 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Rob does remember 100 years ago, but, I'm a little bit
I'm
more youthful.
I'm well seasoned.
So, but you've seen a lot of those changes, and you've seen, and houses have changed a lot during that time frame as well.
Right, and especially over in the Woodlands location where I'm working, it's just boomed so much in the past 10 years. It's gotten really big, and all around, and most of it is still coming along with the new companies. Exxon moving in, it's bringing a lot of other new businesses in, and the Woodlands itself has more Fortune 500 companies than some small states do.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so that's been really good for the economy.
I watched economic news a lot of times, and they talked about that, Texas is creating the bulk of all jobs in the country.
Oh, yeah.
It's all happening right here. And just wonder, see if you have conservative principles and you make it easy for businesses to open up. Businesses come here. Isn't that a strange thing to have happen?
But one of the things that we see also, as a lot of individuals coming into town, as we're seeing a lot of foreigners come into town, as we're seeing a lot of people relocate even within the United States, because one of the things we're seeing is a big relocation. One thing that's happening is people are they're having to become more in tune with their credit, Joe.
Yeah, that happens.
What a segue here.
But one of the things though is, and Joe, obviously with Improve My Credit USA, he has been voted the consumer #1 ranked, consumer credit based organization. I don't want to ruin it or anything like that, but or I don't know how to repeat it that well.
Consumer voted #1 credit repair company in Texas for
you
the
got
last
that memorized
4 years, and consumer voted #1 credit repair company in America for 2014.
But what are you seeing? I mean, what are you seeing in reference to clients right now? I mean, obviously a lot of people are coming in. They're trying to get into this market that we've got right now. How are you seeing, and what are some of the issues that you're seeing in credit-wise?
Well, there's, lately I've ran into a couple interesting things. My industry, at the end of the day, I tell folks it's if you want to hire a credit improvement company, a credit repair company, the common idea, street person, and I understand it's normal. They want the attitude of, I'm hiring you to delete the bad stuff and make that go away and make my scores good. But that's
Right.
not why you hire a credit professional. That's kind of the pie in the sky, fairy dust.
No, wait a minute. I saw a billboard the other day.
Yeah.
And they guarantee you a 700 credit
Yes,
score.
yes.
Yep.
There's
You don't guarantee me 750 if I go to you like today?
No.
Okay.
In fact, it's illegal to make those kind of claims. Much to my annoyance, those people are out there. The reason why you hire a credit professional is to make sure that what is being stated on your credit profile, all three of the bureaus, is accurate. That's the thing. And unfortunately, they make it so convoluted. I mean, if the average person looks at a credit report, it's gibberish. I
Right.
might as well be looking at Latin, because it's very complex. And there is a movement out there with some large companies trying to make that an easier to read, easier to understand process and all that sort of thing. So we are making headway, but it's still very difficult. And what happens is that difficulty allows less than scrupulous vendors to just flat out do illegal things.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example, one that because of what happened in 2007, 2008 with all the foreclosures and what we experienced in the market that I've seen quite a bit of is with the 1099.
Right.
I'm sure you guys have seen this where a person is 1099, they had a foreclosure, the property was resold, and then the remaining debt, the person received the 1099 as income for the amount that was owed.
Because the debt was forgiven.
Yes, because the debt was forgiven. And you said a key phrase, because the debt was forgiven. All right? What I've seen a lot of creditors do is illegal, and they have a nice little way of trying to get around it, but it's illegal, is that they will charge off the debt, 1099, and a 1099, if anybody can look it up, it's on the internet, go to the IRS's website, pull it up, it says on the form, cancellation of debt. I don't think that's too vague.
Right.
Right? Cancellation of debt. Yet, they will 1099 a person, report it as income, you got to pay taxes on it, and now they will sell the debt to a collection company, and the collection company is trying to collect on it. It's illegal.
Right.
You can't both cancel the debt and try to collect the debt.
Cancellation of debt doesn't mean collect on debt?
Right, exactly. Yet I see this. They'll also try to pull another fast one, which is they will have charged off the debt, 2008, 2009, whatever, and now 2014, they're 1099ing you for the income. Can't charge off a debt in a different year than you 1099 the consumer for it. Has to be the same year. That's
Right.
another one that they're pulling. Bunch of shenanigans. So here's how they try to get around it. They 1099 you get it. Now they sell the debt. They want their cake and eat it too, right? And the collection company's calling, and if they collect, if they get you to pay, then the company will turn around and file an amended 1099 reporting a zero write-off. The
Right.
government allows them to amend it. So in effect, that is said, oh, oops, they really didn't owe any money. That's how they make it legal. But while they're trying to collect, after it's been charged off, that's all illegal. Can't do that.
And one of the things also has been a lot of stuff out there is there's a lot of stuff that collection companies and those creditors try to do that are illegal. Number one, if you're asked not to be contacted at your place of work, they cannot contact your place of work. They cannot call you after a normal business hour, which I think is 8 p.m. in the afternoon. They cannot use threatening
before,
language
8
to try to collect a debt.
Yes.
In other words, they can't threaten you to say, if you don't do this, we're going to take this action.
I promise
That
not
is
to call you
considered a
anymore,
threat.
Chris. I promise.
I know, it's crazy, Rob. But there's a lot of stuff like that still.
There's a ton of stuff like that. You would not believe the stories that I've heard of things that collectors have pulled. I had a person tell me that a collector physically showed up at their place of employment to discuss a debt. Told the manager that they had to speak to them about a financial matter. You can't show up at somebody's employment place of work. You can only call an employer once, and that's to verify employment only.
Right.
That's it. Beyond that, it's harassment. It's illegal. Right. There's all sorts of rules like that the consumer's uninformed, so the collector just runs rampant with it. They just run all over the consumer's rights. And on that note, I've got an article that I wrote on our website, what to say when creditors and collectors call. Because there's a lot of little things that they try to get you to do, verbal contracts, when they tell you that the conversation is recorded, all this sort of thing, they try to get you to admit to the debt, so you take ownership of it, and to express a willingness to pay.
Right.
Right? Whether you say I want to pay or not, whether you admit to wanting to make a payment plan or something doesn't matter. Just that, hey, I want to pay you on this, I just can't. You just admitted to the debt. Now they get to update your date of last activity. So there's a lot of little stuff like that they try to rope you into these conversations to jack with you on your credit. That's really all it boils down to
Right.
Because they know once, there's some things about how credit scores work that really are in the consumer's favor. For instance, 80% of your credit score comes from the last 24 months. So once it goes outside of 24 months, the impact really goes down.
Right.
And it really starts tapering off quite a bit past that. So what happens is when these collection companies buy a debt that's multiple years old, 4 years old, now they're calling on you. They know that the impact it's having on your credit is pretty minimal. So they want to get you to do those mistakes. They want you to make a little payment, anything, because that gives them the ability to update the date of last activity, bring it back into that 24-month period, and tank your score again.
Right.
Now you have a lot more motivation to try to deal with it. So there's just so many things. I mean, I could go on for freaking the rest of the show and talk
keep
about
going
how
after the
much
show.
collectors, yes, and beyond the show, and talk about how bad collectors, ruin customer rights.
No, I would absolutely agree right there. And the other thing is most people don't realize is there are a lot of rights that consumers have.
Yes.
We as consumers have to fight this.
Absolutely.
And most people don't know where to go to or don't know what to say or don't know how to do it. A lot of it's good information out there. The other thing, though, I will tell you, there's a lot of bad information out there.
Yeah. And we're coming up on a break, but that's the eternal question of how do you know? One thing, just to wrap up on that kind of point right there, how do you know? One great thing about the information age is we have a tremendous access to customer reviews.
Right.
There's reviews on everything these days, right? Just type in the company name and reviews and see what you find. And you're going to have the crazy review, and when you read it, you usually know it's crazy. And you're going to have the bogus review that's glowing, and it sounds like it was written by a sales professional because it was. Right? But you can take that medium range there, and you can kind of get the feel for the company.
Right.
I highly encourage people to do that. We use a managed review service on our site. It's a third party. They investigate every review. I can't write a review. It gets booted. They track our IP and know where it comes from and all that stuff. So I highly recommend doing that. And that's a good step towards knowing you're working with a professional
And
company.
the writer I had write your review for you, I think she did a really good job, by the way.
It was fantastic.
Anyways, we're coming up against a break again right now. Next segment is going to be open mic segment.
Student loans.
Yes.
I'm going to mention some stuff on that.
Yes, we'll come back to talk about student loans and a lot of other stuff. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.